The door slammed shut behind me as I stumbled into the dimly lit kitchen, my heart pounding like a war drum. Jake, my stepbrother, stood there under the harsh fluorescent light, his face twisted in a mask of fury and something deeper, something I'd never seen before. "I can't do this anymore, Alex," he growled, his voice cracking. And in that instant, the world I'd carefully built around our fragile family crumbled into dust. We'd been thrown together 5 years ago when our parents married in a whirlwind ceremony in suburban Chicago. Mom, a high school teacher with a penchant for stability, had fallen for Dad's charismatic widower charm, Richard, a construction foreman who brought his son Jake into our lives like an unexpected storm. Jake was the epitome of the all-American boy. Tall, broad-shouldered, with tousled brown hair and eyes that could charm anyone. He played football in high school, dated cheerleaders, and fit seamlessly into the heteronormative mold our conservative neighborhood demanded. Me? I was the quiet one, the bookish kid who preferred sketching in my notebook to tossing a ball. At 18, I'd come out to Mom in a tearful kitchen confession 2 years prior, and while she hugged me tightly, whispering assurances, the undercurrent of worry in her eyes never faded. Richard, on the other hand, clapped me on the back with a gruff, "As long as you're happy, son." But his glances lingered a bit too long, laced with unspoken expectations. Living under the same roof with Jake was a daily exercise in restraint. We'd shared a bathroom, argued over the remote, and navigated the awkward dance of blended family dynamics. But beneath the surface banter, there was an electric tension I couldn't ignore. Jake's casual touches, a hand on my shoulder, a playful shove, sent sparks through me, even as I reminded myself he was straight, off-limits, family. He had girlfriends, boasted about weekend conquests, and rolled his eyes at my sensitive nature. Yet, in quiet moments, like when we'd stay up late watching old movies, his laughter felt genuine, his presence comforting in a way that blurred lines I dared not cross. That night, everything changed. It was past midnight, and I'd come downstairs for a glass of water, insomnia gnawing at me after a brutal day at community college, where a classmate's homophobic slur had left me raw. Jake was there, pacing, his football jersey rumpled, eyes bloodshot. "What's wrong?" I asked, my voice soft, concerned. He stopped, stared at me, and then the words tumbled out like a dam breaking. "I'm not straight, Alex. I've been lying to everyone, including myself." The confession hung in the air, heavy and irreversible. My mind reeled, shock, elation, terror all colliding. Jake, the golden boy, admitting this? In our house, where Richard's offhand jokes about those people echoed at dinner tables. I stepped closer, my hand reaching out instinctively. "Jake, what do you mean?" But he pulled back, shaking his head. "You don't get it, Dad. He expects me to be the man he raised. Marry a nice girl, have kids, carry on the family name. If he finds out..." His voice trailed off, fear etching lines on his young face. We talked, or rather, he poured out years of suppressed feelings. Stolen glances at guys in the locker room, the guilt after dates with girls, the internal war between who he was and who he pretended to be. I listened, my own heart aching with empathy and a forbidden hope. By dawn, as the first light crept through the windows, we'd forged a secret pact. No one could know, not yet. But secrets have a way of festering, and ours was already poisoning the air. The next morning, breakfast was a farce. Mom hummed while flipping pancakes. Richard grumbled over the newspaper, oblivious to the storm brewing. Jake avoided my eyes, his usual cocky grin forced. I felt the weight of his confession like a stone in my chest. School that day was a blur. I couldn't focus on lectures, my mind replaying his words. What did this mean for us? For me, I'd harbored a crush on him since day one, but now it felt dangerous, laced with the potential for real heartbreak. As weeks passed, the tension built like a pressure cooker. Jake and I stole moments in the garage or late-night drives, talking in hushed tones about our fears. He confessed to experimenting in secret during high school, brief encounters that left him more confused. "I thought it was a phase," he admitted one night, parked by the lake. "But being around you, feels right. My pulse raced, but I held back, warning him of the risks. Our family was a fragile construct. Richard's traditional values clashed with Mom's quiet progressivism, and any scandal could shatter it. Then came the first crack. At a family barbecue, Richard's old friend, a burly vet named Tom, made a crude joke about fairies in the military. Jake laughed along, but his eyes met mine across the yard, apology flickering. Later, alone in his room, he broke down. "I hate this," he whispered, pulling me into a hug that lingered too long. In that embrace, boundaries blurred, and for a moment, I allowed myself to imagine a future where we didn't have to hide. But hiding exacted its toll. Jake started withdrawing from friends, his grades slipping. I noticed the dark circles under his eyes, the way he'd flinch at Richard's praise for his manly pursuits. One evening, after a heated argument with Dad over skipping football practice, Jake stormed out. I found him in the park, sitting on a bench, head in hands. "I can't keep pretending," he said, "but coming out, it'll destroy everything." I sat beside him, our shoulders touching, and shared my own story. The isolation, the fear of rejection. "It's worth it," I assured him, though doubt gnawed at me. Was it really, when the cost could be our family? The turning point came during a weekend trip to Grandma's in Wisconsin. Crammed in the car, tensions simmered. Richard blasted classic rock. Mom chatted about recipes, but Jake and I exchanged loaded glances in the rearview. At the lake house, while the parents fished, we hiked the trails. Deep in the woods, away from prying eyes, Jake stopped, turned to me. "Alex, I think I'm in love with you." The words hit like lightning, electrifying and terrifying. Before I could respond, he kissed me. Tentative, then desperate. Time stopped. The world narrowed to that moment. But as we pulled apart, reality crashed in, footsteps approaching. We sprang away just as Mom appeared, her smile fading at our flushed faces. That night, back home, the secret weighed heavier. Jake's confession opened a Pandora's box of emotions. Joy mingled with dread. What if Richard found out? Our blended family, already on shaky ground, could fracture. And me? I was falling harder, knowing the path ahead was mined with societal judgments, family expectations, and our own moral dilemmas. Was pursuing this worth the inevitable pain? As I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, I realized the real drama was just beginning. The kiss lingered in my mind like a forbidden melody, replaying during mundane moments, brushing teeth, staring at lecture notes. Jake and I navigated the house like ghosts, stealing glances over breakfast cereal, our fingers brushing under the table. But the thrill was laced with paranoia. Every creak of the floorboards made us jump, convinced Richard or Mom was onto us. School became my escape, but even there, the world's prejudices intruded. In sociology class, we debated LGBTQ rights, and a classmate's rant about traditional families hit too close. I glanced at my phone, a covert text from Jake. "Miss you already." My heart swelled, but so did the fear. What were we doing? Stepbrothers crossing into romance. It screamed taboo, even without the gay angle. Society's lens would magnify it into something sordid, ignoring the genuine connection we'd built over years of shared laughter and tears. At home, the facade cracked further. Richard announced a father-son camping trip for him and Jake, a bonding ritual to toughen him up. Jake's face paled. He knew it meant hours of manly talks, grilling about girls and future plans. "I can't go through with it," he confided later, in my room after lights out. We sat on the floor, backs against the bed, whispering. "Dad keeps pushing me towards Sarah from church. Says she's perfect wife material." Sarah, the sweet girl next door, oblivious to Jake's turmoil. The thought of him faking it with her twisted my gut. I urged caution. "We need a plan. Coming out isn't just about us. It's the ripple effects." But Jake was restless, his internal conflict boiling over. That night, he snuck into my bed, not for anything physical, but for comfort. We lay there, fully clothed, his head on my chest, listening to each other's heartbeats. "This feels right," he murmured. Why does the world make it wrong? I had no answer, only the ache of loving someone society deemed inappropriate. The camping trip was a disaster waiting to happen. They left Friday evening, Richard's truck loaded with gear. Mom and I waved them off, her hugging me extra tight. "Everything okay, honey?" she asked, sensing my unease. I nodded, but inside I worried. Jake texted sporadically. "Dad's on about grandkids already." Then radio silence. Saturday night. My phone buzzed at 2 a.m. Jake, voice frantic. I told him, "Alex." I couldn't hold it in. Panic surged. "What? Everything?" He explained. Around the campfire, Richard pressed about his lack of focus, insinuating girls would fix it. Jake snapped, blurting he wasn't into girls. Richard's reaction was explosive, yelling about disappointment, how he'd failed as a father. They drove home in stony silence. When they arrived Sunday morning, the house felt like a powder keg. Richard stormed in, face thunderous. Mom greeted them cheerfully, but he brushed past, slamming his office door. Jake looked wrecked, eyes red-rimmed. In the kitchen, he pulled me aside. "He thinks it's a phase, that I need therapy." My stomach dropped. Therapy? The kind that fixes people? Mom noticed the tension, cornering me later. "What's going on with Jake? He seems off." I feigned ignorance, but guilt gnawed. Hiding from her felt like betrayal. That evening, the confrontation erupted at dinner. Richard, nursing a beer, fixed Jake with a stern gaze. "We need to talk about this nonsense." Mom's fork paused midair. "What nonsense?" Richard exploded. "Your son's influencing mine." Jake says he's confused. The accusation hung venomous. Mom's eyes widened, darting between us. "Richard, what are you implying?" Jake intervened, voice steady despite trembling hands. "It's not Alex's fault, Dad. I've always felt this way." The table descended into chaos. Richard ranted about family values, how his late wife would be ashamed. Mom defended us, her voice rising. "Love is love, Richard. If Jake's gay, we support him." But Richard's words cut deep. "Not in my house. I won't have this abnormality." Jake stood, chair scraping. "Then maybe I don't belong here." He stormed out, me following. In the garage, tears streamed down his face. I should have kept quiet. I held him, whispering assurances, but doubt crept in. Had my presence pushed him to this? The moral quandary weighed heavy. Was our budding romance worth dismantling the family? Society's whispers amplified. Blended families were hard enough without this scandal. Days blurred into a cold war. Richard barely spoke to Jake. Mom mediated fruitlessly. Jake withdrew, skipping school. His once vibrant spirit dimmed. I tried supporting him, but our stolen moments felt tainted by guilt. One afternoon, walking home from class, I overheard neighbors gossiping. "Heard the boys are, you know." Word was spreading, fueled by Richard's bar talks. Then betrayal struck. Sarah, Jake's supposed interest, confronted him at a party. Hurt by his distance, she accused him publicly. "You're gay? Is that why you ghosted me?" The crowd murmured. Phones out. By morning, social media buzzed. Our conservative suburbs' latest drama. Jake's phone exploded with messages. Support from a few, vitriol from many. "Faggot." One read, anonymous but stinging. He showed me eyes hollow. "This is the price, Alex." I nodded, but inside rage boiled. Why did loving someone demand such sacrifice? That night, as he cried in my arms, I realized the depth of his damage. Coming out wasn't liberation. It was a battlefield with family as collateral. The pressure mounted when Richard issued an ultimatum. Get help or get out. Mom argued, but cracks showed in their marriage. Jake faced a choice. Suppress himself for peace or embrace truth at cost. I watched, helpless, as he wrestled morality. Loyalty to Dad versus self-authenticity. In a quiet moment, he confided, "If I choose you, us, it'll break them." The words hung, a dagger to my heart. Our love, pure in intent, now a weapon. As High Trikeo approached, I braced for the inevitable fallout, knowing every decision carried irreversible consequences. The ultimatum echoed through the house like a death knell, forcing Jake into a corner where every option drew blood. He chose silence at first, retreating to his room, emerging only for meals where tension thickened the air like fog. Mom's attempts at reconciliation fell flat. Richard's stubborn pride blocked any bridge. I felt like a spectator in my own life, torn between supporting Jake and preserving the fragile peace. School became a minefield. Whispers followed us, Jake more so, his football hero status tarnished by rumors. Teammates distanced themselves. Coaches eyed him warily. One day, in the locker room, a jock cornered him. "Heard you're switching teams, bro." Jake's fist clenched, but he walked away, dignity intact but spirit bruised. I found him later skipping class in the bleachers. "It's everywhere," he said, voice hollow. "Even my so-called friends." I sat beside him, our hands intertwining out of sight. "We'll get through this." But doubt lingered. Our relationship, once a secret haven, now amplified the chaos. Kisses stolen in shadows carried the weight of potential discovery, each one a gamble against family unity. Morally, I questioned, was encouraging him selfish? Society preached acceptance, but in our Midwest bubble, it was lip service masking judgment. The breaking point came midweek. Mom, sensing the rift's depth, sat us down. Jake and me, Richard absent at work. "Tell me the truth," she pleaded. Jake hesitated, then spilled. Not just his orientation, but our feelings. Her face paled, eyes filling with tears. "Oh boys, this is complicated. No anger, just sorrow for the pain ahead, the societal backlash. Richard won't understand. He's from a different time." She promised support, but warned of consequences. That night, she confronted Richard. Voices rose from their bedroom. "They're stepbrothers, for God's sake," Richard bellowed. "It's unnatural." Mom countered, "Love isn't unnatural. Your bigotry is." The argument raged, ending in slammed doors and icy silence. By morning, Richard's bags were packed. He was staying with Tom. To think, the house felt emptier, but the void filled with anxiety. Jake blamed himself. "If I hadn't said anything," I reassured him, but guilt mirrored in my eyes. Our choices had fractured the family. Was authenticity worth this wreckage? Friends offered mixed reactions. Some allies emerged, like my classmate Mia, who shared resources for LGBTQ support groups. Others ghosted, fearing association. Jake attended his first meeting secretly, in a community center downtown. "It helped," he admitted later, over late-night ice cream. Hearing others' stories. "I'm not alone." But returning home, reality bit. Richard's absence loomed. Mom's forced smiles hid worry. Financial strains surfaced. Richard handled bills. His departure threatened stability. Then, a twist, Richard called a family meeting. We gathered in the living room, air thick with anticipation. He looked haggard, regret etching his features. "I've been talking to Tom," he began. "He lost a brother to suicide. Over this stuff." The revelation stunned us. Tom's brother had been gay, closeted, driven to despair by family rejection. Richard's voice cracked. "I don't want that for you, Jake." It wasn't full acceptance, more a reluctant truce. "I need time," he admitted. "But I'm not kicking you out." Mom hugged him, tears flowing. Jake nodded, wary but hopeful. For a moment, relief washed over us. But beneath, undercurrents swirled. Richard's time meant conditions. No public displays, therapy to understand. Jake agreed, but resentment simmered. Our relationship strained under scrutiny. Stolen moments became rarer, paranoia heightening. One evening, walking the dog, Jake confessed, "I feel like I'm betraying myself again." The moral dilemma deepened. Was compromising for family peace true freedom? Society's progress clashed with personal realities. Acceptance on paper didn't erase ingrained biases. High school drama escalated when Jake's ex-friend leaked a photo. Innocent. Us hugging at a park. Social media exploded. Stepbro romance? Gross. Hashtags trended locally, drawing media attention. A reporter called, probing for the story. Mom fielded it, protective, but the invasion stung. Jake faced backlash head-on at school. A confrontation in the hall. "You're disgusting," a bully sneered. Jake stood tall. "What's disgusting is your hate." Fists flew, he got suspended. At home, Richard's fragile truce shattered. "See what this causes," he yelled. Jake retorted, "It's not my fault. It's yours for not accepting." The argument peeled layers. Richard's fear rooted in his own upbringing. Strict parents who equated manhood with heterosexuality. "I wanted better for you," he admitted, voice breaking. Jake softened. "Better means letting me be me." A breakthrough, raw and painful. But damage lingered. Mom suggested counseling for all. We attended sessions, unpacking resentments. The therapist probed, "What price are you willing to pay for truth?" Jake glanced at me, eyes speaking volumes. Our love, tested by fire, emerged stronger but scarred. As summer loomed, decisions loomed larger. College applications beckoned. Jake eyeing out of state, escape tempting. "We could start fresh," he whispered one night, stars overhead. But leaving meant abandoning family mid-healing. The ethical tightrope. Prioritize self or sacrifice for others. Tensions peaked at a neighborhood block party. Whispers followed us. Richard overheard slurs, defending Jake fiercely. "My son's a good man. Back off." A turning point, his protectiveness surprising. Yet later, he confided doubts. "I worry about your future. Jobs, kids." Jake's response, "My future's mine to define." The exchange highlighted societal pressures, discrimination in employment, adoption barriers. Our story wasn't just personal. It mirrored broader struggles. In quiet reflection, I pondered the costs. Friendships lost, families strained, self-doubt amplified. But gains too, authenticity, deeper bonds. As climax built, I braced for the next wave, knowing love's path demanded constant vigilance. Richard's defense at the block party marked a shift, but healing was patchwork, stitches pulling with every strain. Jake returned to school post-suspension, head high, but the isolation bit deep. Former friends averted eyes. New allies emerged, tentative but genuine. Mia invited us to a pride event in the city, our first public outing as a couple. "It'll be empowering," she urged. We went, hands clasped in the crowd, rainbow flags waving. For hours, anonymity shielded us. Jake's smile genuine, unburdened. "This is what freedom feels like," he said, kissing my cheek amid cheers. But photos surfaced online, tagged by acquaintances. By Monday, Richard saw them at work, co-workers ribbing him. The fallout was swift. He confronted us. "Parading around? What about discretion?" Jake fired back. "Discretion means hiding. Who I am, who I love." The argument unearthed deeper rifts. Richard's fear of professional repercussions, his construction site's macho culture. "They'll think less of me," he admitted. Mom intervened. "Then find better people." But the damage showed. Richard's support wavered, resentment brewing. Jake's internal storm raged. Therapy sessions revealed layers. Childhood pressures to conform, suppressing attractions to please Dad. "I traded my soul for approval," he confessed. "I shared my own scars, bullying in middle school, the loneliness before coming out. Our bond deepened, but so did the stakes. Loving each other meant constant defense against external forces. A betrayal blindsided us. Tom, Richard's confidant, outed Jake to extended family during a phone call, framing it as concern. Aunts and uncles flooded lines. "Pray for him," one texted. Grandma, devout Catholic, called tearfully, "This isn't God's plan." Jake crumpled, faith shaken. He'd attended church sporadically, but now felt exiled. The moral crossroads loomed. Fight or flee? Jake considered moving out, crashing with Mia. "I can't breathe here," he said, but leaving meant fracturing further. I pleaded, "We face it together." Our decisions carried weight. Abandon family or endure toxicity? Society's mirror reflected harshly. News stories of LGBTQ youth homelessness haunted me. Statistics on suicide rates chilled. Was pushing Jake toward full authenticity risking his safety? The drama intensified when school administration called complaints about our influence. A meeting ensued, principal tiptoeing around discrimination laws. We attended with Mom, Richard absent. Keep it private, she advised. Jake refused. Private means ashamed. I'm not. His defiance inspired, but consequences followed. Subtle exclusions from events, grades scrutinized. Home life teetered. Mom and Richard's marriage strained. Arguments echoed nightly. You're pushing him away, she accused. Richard, he's pushing me. Jake overheard, guilt compounding. One night he packed a bag. I'm done hurting everyone. I blocked the door. Running solves nothing. Stay, fight. He stayed, but the toll mounted. Sleepless nights, appetite gone. I watched him fade, the vibrant boy dimmed by battles. A turning moment. Richard found Jake's journal, entries raw with pain. Reading them, he broke. Tears in his office, confronting his role. Apology came haltingly over dinner. I was wrong. Scared, but wrong. Jake listened, wary. Prove it. Richard nodded, committing to PFLAG meetings. Progress incremental but real. Yet, external pressures persisted. A local church sermon condemned sinful lifestyles. Parishioners eyeing our family. Jake skipped services, faith fracturing. How can I believe in a God who hates me? The ethical dilemma. Reconcile beliefs or reject them? Our relationship evolved amid chaos. Conversations deepened, support unwavering. But intimacy remained chaste. Focus on emotional anchors. One evening, stargazing, Jake vowed, no matter what, you're my choice. Heart swelling, I echoed, and you're mine. As graduation neared, choices crystallized. Jake accepted a scholarship in California. Fresh start, but distance loomed. Come with me? He asked. Tempting, but ties bound me, community college, family. The decision tore, pursue love or honor obligations. High tracheo hit when Richard's boss demoted him, citing distractions. Fury boiled. This is discrimination. We rallied, Mom contacting lawyers. The fight united us, Richard seeing systemic bias firsthand. I get it now, he admitted. The world's stacked against you. Victory came partial settlement, but scars remained. Jake's resolve hardened. We can't change everyone, but we change us. Family therapy intensified, unpacking generations of expectations. In reflection, costs tallied. Trust eroded, innocence lost. But awakenings too, Richard's growth, our resilience. As story crested, I pondered. Was the pain justified? Love demanded sacrifice, but boundaries blurred between self-preservation and selfishness. The final push, a family vacation testing bonds. Tensions simmered, but breakthroughs emerged. Richard asking questions, listening. Jake opened up, sharing dreams. Hope flickered, fragile but present. Yet shadows lingered. Society's acceptance was conditional, our path fraught. As we returned, decisions loomed, each carrying profound repercussions. Graduation day dawned crisp, the auditorium buzzing with anticipation. But for us, it was a battlefield one with bloodied hands. Jake walked the stage, diploma in grip, his smile masking the wars waged. Richard clapped loudest, a far cry from months prior, but the journey's scars etched deep. Post-ceremony, family photos felt surreal. Smiles forced, unity tentative. California beckoned, Jake's departure 2 weeks away. It's not goodbye, he insisted, but distance loomed like a chasm. Nights blurred in tearful talks. What if we drift? I voiced fears, he promised fidelity. But reality bit, long distance amid youth's temptations, societal pressures amplifying doubts. The moral quagmire deepened. Encourage his escape for growth, or beg him stay for us? Selfishness warred with love. Mom noticed my turmoil. Let him fly, Alex. True love endures. Richard, evolved but gruff, added, "He's strong because of you." A final confrontation brewed when extended family visited, Grandma, aunts bearing judgment veiled as concern. Dinner tensed. "Have you considered therapy?" Grandma asked Jake. He met her gaze. "Therapy for what? Being me?" Richard interjected. "Enough. He's fine as is." The defense stunned, alliances shifting. But words wounded. Jake excused himself, me following to the porch. "It's never ending," he sighed. "Stars above, we held each other, the world fading. We've paid dearly," I murmured. "Costs catalogued. Friendships severed. Family fractured then mended. Self-worth battered. Awakenings. Authenticity's power. Love's resilience. Departure eve packing amid memories." Jake paused over a photo. Us as kids, post-wedding, awkward grins. "We started as strangers," he said. "Ended as everything." Tears fell. Embraces lingered. Morning brought airport goodbyes. Richard hugging tight. "Proud of you, son." Mom whispering blessings. Me, last. "Come back to me." He boarded, heartstrings stretching. Months followed in limbo. Video calls sustaining, but loneliness gnawed. Visits sparse, temptations tested. Jake shared campus struggles. Subtle homophobia, identity quests. I navigated home. Richard's ongoing growth, joining advocacy groups. Mom's strengthened marriage. A crisis hit midterm. Jake's roommate outed him maliciously, backlash ensuing. Calls frantic. "I want to quit." I flew out, support unwavering. Amid turmoil, we reaffirmed, "This is worth it." But questions lingered. Had choices been right? Society's evolution slow, personal tolls steep. Back home, reflections deepened. Our story mirrored countless battles for acceptance, prices paid. Jake thrived eventually, majoring in psychology, aiding others. Visits reignited passion, but distance strained. A year later, reunion permanent. Jake transferred closer, prioritizing us. Family welcomed, bonds fortified. Richard hosted a barbecue, toasting, "To new beginnings."
Lauge hashtag genuine, healing evident.
Yet, echoes remained. Society's judgments persisted, subtle discriminations, political backslides. Our love, once taboo, now normalized in our circle, but broader fights loomed. In quiet moments, I pondered the saga's essence. Conflicts internal and external, betrayals forgiven, sacrifices redeemed. Jake's journey from denial to embrace, mine from longing to fulfillment. The drama, intense and unyielding, forged unbreakable ties. But was it all justified? The heartaches, the rifts, did truth's pursuit outweigh destruction? As we moved forward, hand in hand, the question lingered, inviting debate. In the quest for authentic love, is fracturing a family to rebuild it stronger a moral victory or an unforgivable cost?